30 to 35% of the class from LBS is going to consulting, then a similar percentage going to finance, and another 10-20% going to technology, and remaining going to startups and other sectors, right? Retail, manufacturing, so on and so forth. So this is how you think about the numbers from your MIM program. Hello everybody, welcome to today's video. Today we are going to talk about Masters in Management programs. Everything that you need to know about Masters in Management program. We will cover a few topics starting off with MBA versus MIM. We will then go into the ROI scenario, that is, what is the expected cost and the expected salary for these programs. Number 3, we will also talk about the application process and how do you maximize your chances for getting into a top MIM program. So without any further delay, please hit on the like button and subscribe to the channel, and let's jump into the first part. That is, what is the primary difference between MBA and MIM programs? Well, from a university standpoint, MIM programs are considered to be the early career programs, which means that, hey, this is more suitable for folks with 0 years of work experience to 2 years of work experience, right? Fresh undergrads to somebody who has less than 2 years work experience. Whereas an MBA program, a typical MBA program in the US, UK, or any Western country, it's considered to be a program for folks who have at least 4 years of work experience, 3 plus, 4 plus years of work experience, whereas MIM is 0 to 2 years of work experience window, right? Now, if you think about the European business schools, where the MIM programs are also more popular, right? The average work experience in an MBA program is actually 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, right? So the divide is pretty clear in terms of who is more suitable for MIM program versus an MBA program, right? That point, I hope, is pretty clear and straightforward. The second thing that you also need to know about MIM programs is that these programs are more popular in the European context compared to the US context. The primary reason being the undergrad programs in Europe, majority of them are 3-year programs, whereas the undergrad programs in the US are 4-year programs. So folks typically tend to start working immediately after their undergrad program in the US, whereas in UK and Europe, largely, folks prefer to get their master's degree because their undergrad is only for 3 years, right? That's how the popularity of Masters in Management programs, the MIM programs, also grew very high in UK and Europe, whereas they are not as much popular in the US context. I hope that's another point which is very clear, right? Now, moving on, what are some of the top MIM programs in the world right now? As I already mentioned, most of the programs are based out of Europe. So the top programs are also London Business School, INSEAD, HEC Paris, ESSAD, and a few more, right? What do you learn in these programs? The learnings are pretty similar to what you will get to learn in an MBA program. Managerial accounting, financial accounting, a few other finance concepts. Now, if you're talking about marketing, strategy, operations, right? All the classic business functions, you get to learn them. You also have topics related to macroeconomics, microeconomics. You have topics related to data analytics, right? So it covers the entire breadth of what you can expect in a business degree. So the topics that you learn and what you get out of the classroom are pretty much similar to what you get in an MBA program too. The other interesting aspect that you will learn in an MIM program, not to ignore, is the networking aspect, right? You get to meet super interesting folks from all around the world. If you take LBS, for example, London Business School has 94% international students in its MIM program. INSEAD has similar numbers, right? So these are very diverse cohorts and you get to learn a lot from your classroom. So one is in-class learnings and the other one is the learnings from your batchmates. These are the two interesting things that you will get out of the MIM programs. If you think about what is the cost to do this degree, LBS is roughly £40,000 tuition fee, and if you add another 10,000, 15,000 pounds for living expenses, it is roughly 50 to 55,000 pounds, right? INSEAD is again similar, but probably another 5,000-6,000 pounds more. So if you think about it in INR, the overall cost would come around, for any of these top programs, I'm talking without scholarship, to be around 50 to 60 lakhs, right? But if you actually apply in the first round or the second round, you have a good chance of getting a scholarship, right? From 25% off for your tuition fee to almost 100% scholarship on your tuition fee, right? And these scholarships are based on needs and also your merit, right? So please don't ignore this fact. There are a lot of scholarships available for MIM students, and if you are one of those early applicants trying to get this out of your way very soon, then you have a very high chance of getting that scholarship, right? So your program costs will drop down to anywhere between 30 lakhs to 40 lakhs, right? That's a huge amount that we are talking about here. Now, that's on the cost side. Then what is on the revenue side, right? That's the salaries. There are three popular industries, functions where a lot of MIM program students go. Number one, consulting. Number two, your financial services. And number three, tech. And a few of them also go into the startup space. Consulting offers you around 60,000 pounds to 65,000 pounds if I'm talking about context in London. And if you go into financial services, again, it is around 60 to 65,000 pounds as base salary. And finally, if you come to tech, you are probably talking around 45,000 to 50,000 pounds, right? So your spend is around 50,000 pounds, which is roughly equivalent to, let's say, 50 lakhs, 50, 60 lakhs. And your salary, annual salary is also around the same figure, right? So even if you take out your expenses, if you have nothing, no other, let's say, financial burden, you might be clearing up your entire debt in probably 2-year window, right? So in 2 years, you can actually start savings beyond your debt, right? So that's a very interesting and important proposition. And to start off with, programs like LBS, INSEAD, HEC say that on their brochures that almost 90 to 95% of the students get jobs in less than 3 months after graduation, right? So it's very interesting, and the ROI on these MIM programs is also very high. So if you are an undergrad student and if you are interested in studying business, right, in a global context, probably MIM program is a good option for you. And if you don't want to wait for 4 or 5 years to get an MBA degree, then definitely MIM is probably the only choice for you right now. Again, these programs will help you get a job in one of these international locations. That could be London, Singapore, Dubai, right? Any of these locations. If you do alternatively study in India, then you are not able to get that job outside of India, right? That's the tricky part. Whether you want to spend and look for that ROI and a job outside of India, or you are comfortable spending a lesser amount, right? Again, this amount, if you go for any of the IIMs, is probably now touching 30 lakhs, right? So it's not a small amount to start off with, right? But the job opportunities are mostly in India itself. So that's the scenario with respect to ROI, that is the expected cost and also the expected salaries. Now, 30 to 35% of the class from LBS is going to consulting, then a similar percentage going to finance, and another 10-20% going to technology, and remaining going to startups and other sectors, right? Retail, manufacturing, so on and so forth. So this is how you think about the numbers from your MIM program. Of course, this is a business degree, so you can't say that, hey, I don't worry about ROI at all. You need to be worried about your ROI, and you need to know what you are going to get out of your business degree right from day one from a financial perspective. Now, talking about the third important factor, that is the entire application process. If you look at it, right, the LBS, INSEAD, HEC, SR, Cornell, a lot of these programs are very international by design. 90 to 95% of the classroom is international, right? What does that mean? They encourage folks to have some kind of international exposure. It need not be work experience, right? A lot of folks actually get into these programs with zero work experience, but you demonstrate that, hey, I have an international motivation. It helps the admissions officer to believe in your story and say that, hey, yes, probably he or she is the right fit for the program, right? That's number one. The second one, these guys are not looking necessarily for work experience, but they are looking for experiences where you could demonstrate a few of your abilities. It could be, let's say, you're organizing an event on your campus. It could be, let's say, you're organizing a trek. It could be you have an international internship, right? All of these things count. To an extent, it is about the experience that you have and also how you are actually representing that experience. Both these things count, right? So along with your GMAT, GRE and your grades, that counts for your academic competencies. The other part is your leadership experience and your international motivation. Your leadership experience can come from organizing events, organizing treks, organizing, let's say, meetups with, or helping folks learn something. You can go and use your skill to teach few people, right, in this area that you are having an expertise in. Or you can go and help people how do they clear and get into your university, right? Some kind of an admissions support. So you can display any of these things as your extracurricular activities, right? You can probably go for an international internship, right? I'm linking out one opportunity where you can actually get international exposure and highlight it in a very practical way on your application, right? So these things will start adding value to you immediately from an application perspective, because the admission officers believe that, hey, yes, you can add value to the class and also you can derive value from the class at the same time. I hope that also clears a bit about, hey, what do you need to show in your application. There is nothing that you need to probably like work towards now, right? But if you have something very strong going for you from a long time, project that out. Put something unique on your CV. It could be an international experience. It could be somewhere you are leading a small group of people in your college context or in your internship or anywhere else, right? So these things add up to your profile. Now, to take a step back, the final question I want to answer is like, hey, why should you go for an MIM program? If you have aspirations to step into the business world, and if you are an undergrad student right now, probably MIM program will help you fulfill these aspirations even without 4 years for your MBA degree. That's number one. Number two, this is also giving you opportunity to interview with some of the best organizations out there. McKinsey's, BCG's, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley's, right? Google's, Facebook's in London, right? In Paris, in Singapore. These offices, you actually get an interview with them, right? That's a huge motivation. Number three, the cost of these programs is almost half when you compare it with a traditional MBA program, right? That's another reason why a lot of people are preferring to go for an MIM program rather than an MBA program. And as we looked at the ROI scenario, you can completely clear off your debts most probably in 2 to 3 years, right? So if these are things that are on top of your mind, then definitely consider a MIM program. And I'm giving you a link in the description box where you can actually go and experience an international project, and that could add a lot of value to your overall CV when you are pushing forward for that MIM program. Alright guys, hope this is helpful. If you have any questions related to MIM programs, please put it in the comments box and I'll try to make another video around it. Thank you so much and see you again in the next video. Take care guys. Bye. ROI at all.